You're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats.
By the way, cheers. You know, so cheers to the pantalones. That is nice.
That's good.
That is good. A nice clean tequila. So, I mean, an unofficial taste test here for the Matthew McConaughey Pantalones. I think this is
All right.
Yep, and it is. It is all right. I think this is the this is the añejo. No, I'm sorry. This is the reposado. I'm not too keen on the añejos for tequila. That just means that's just the amount of time it's aged. If you're unaware. So a repo is usually, I believe, a repo is between 6 months to a year, and añejo is anything over a year. And then like platinums and silvers and stuff like that, that's all like under 6 months, like not aged hardly at all.
Okay.
You know? So it's like the white dog version of tequila. Just giving you an education. You know what a white
knowledge.
So a white dog is an unaged whiskey.
Okay.
You ever had?
No.
You ever had one of those?
I don't believe so.
Do I still have one out there? I might still have one out there if you want to try it later. Just to give it a sip. Yeah, because the first time I ever had a white dog was actually from Ranger Creek out of San Antonio. And Ranger Creek was known that when they started making their second rounds of beers, they actually took these spent grains from their whiskey and made beers from it. Like, so they could take the spent grains and use it to flavor the beers. So one of their like Belgian-y type of beers, they took that. Oh, I'm sorry, I had it backwards. They take their spent grains and turn it into whiskey. Sorry, I had it backwards in my head. And they had a white dog based off their La Bestia beer. And so it was La Bestia de Favorable. However, some kind of Spanish-y, Frenchy sound. Basically unfavorable version. But it was never aged in any barrels or anything. So basically like take a grain whiskey that's never gone into an oak barrel to be aged. But that whiskey is based off of a beer. So, and then their point, I think it's their 0.44. No, that's the rye. Fuck, what is it? So they did a version of their whiskey, but it's made with their mesquite smoked porter grains. So the smokiness that has already been instilled into that goes into the base whiskey. It's actually pretty solid.
I was gonna say that sounds pretty good.
Actually, it is. I don't have a bottle of Rimshot, so it's called Rimshot or Rimfire. Was it Rimfire? Yeah, I think it's Rimfire because they're basing it off like it's the 0.22. That's what it was. So they got 0.22, 0.33, I'm sorry, 0.36 and 0.44 are their different whiskeys for the most part. Ranger Creek, pretty good. I've been to the distillery. I have a limited edition version of their whiskey out there that you could only get if you were either a part of their bourbon club or you're in-house in the distillery. We went at 10:30 in the morning. So we did a short road trip to Austin and San Antonio. And so we like got into San Antonio, like did like, I think dinner on like the Riverwalk. Yeah, because we went to the Iron Cactus, which was stupid expensive, but amazing. And I said, before we fucking leave San Antonio, I'm finally going to go to Ranger Creek. And they happened to be open like early on a Monday fucking morning. So we swung by there, did like an hour and a half. So I did a flight of their whiskeys that I could never get in normal stores. And I think I had one other beer, and then we left out of there at like 12:30 and hit the road. Actually, I think we did San Antonio, then Austin. I think that's the way we did it. But that was a good little short getaway we did. That was a lot of fun.
I've been wanting to go to San Antonio, so now you're giving me ideas what to do.
Yeah, the only thing is that Ranger Creek is way on the outskirts, like on the like northeast corner, I think, of like 1406, 1402, whatever the big loop is. It was like it's like in a little industrial park. Like you would never see it otherwise. But there's a lot of fun stuff to do in San Antonio. But we hadn't been there in like, or I hadn't been there in forever. We'd only been there once as a couple, because we went to Freetail Brewing, the old one, because it was a brewery and pizza place. So they did Stonefired pizza oven.
Pizza and beer.
It was awesome. So they got the brew house behind the bar, and then on the other side they got the pizza oven. So, and the pizza was fucking good. Like, never thought asparagus on pizza would be good, but they did it with like the kind of white sauce and like cheese and asparagus, and I think it was bacon. So it was good. Like you didn't get the asparagus flavor like heavily, and it's like super smoked and soft after soaking in that cheese and the heat. But their brisket pizza was fucking phenomenal. That was some good shit. Because I remember the first time I got. Wait a minute, was it? That couldn't have been the same trip. Wait, was it? No, okay, it wasn't that trip. So we did go to San Antonio twice. Because I got my bottle of Clase Azul tequila. The first one was in San Antonio at their. They have Specs up there, but it's less known. They have another whiskey or another liquor store that's a big name, and it's slipping my mind right now. But that's where I got my first bottle of Clase Azul. That was after my buddy Leo got me into tequilas. Like I was the same kind of guy who drank the same bullshit Patron or whatever party tequilas, you know, where people basically just drink it to get shit faced. Like that's where I started learning what different flavor profiles are. Like this is pretty well balanced between sweet and peppery.
So this is pretty much your wheelhouse. Your it's tequila
now. Like, but I have lots of whiskey out there too. It's like, I mean, like the one I brought to New Year's. Like that one, I was like just reading through. It's like I've heard of the brand and I've read the bottle and looked for the flavor profile, and I was like, that sounds neat. But I've got like whiskey lovers. Like I'll go to Seth from Copperhead. I'll message him and be like, hey, what's a good cheap whiskey that kind of in this wheelhouse? Because he's part of like this whole whiskeys collector club and everything else like that. And then I have an Irish friend that I'll hit up when I need to know something about Irish whiskey. I was like, hey, what brands are good and what profiles can I expect from different things? So went to not World Market. What is it? It's another big one. Not Twin Liquors. Damn, that's the one around the corner. It's going to come to me in a minute. But big old liquor store down there in the Woodlands. And I literally got him on a video call. I'm like, hey, man, it's like 2 a.m. over there. And I'm like video calling him about Irish whiskeys. Because I wanted to try something. I was like, hey, what is good and that is roughly that I can afford? And that's how I ended up with a fucking $120 bottle of fucking Irish whiskey. That's really fucking good. And I don't drink it that often because I don't want to buy another one. Because that's the problem with the expensive shit. You don't want to drink it fast because then you have to buy another one. It's like, I'll buy the $24 bottle of fucking tequila that's really fucking good and like way better than Patron or any of those other bullshit ones.
But you can go through that a few times.
I can go through that a lot, and then I'll buy my like $50, $60, $100 bottles that I'll sip on live streams or like now. Like this Pantalones is only like $30, and this is solid. This is a solid tequila. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey. Now that would be interesting to get his ass on a podcast somehow. And I didn't even know about it until I watched him on Two Bears, One Cave, which is Bert and Tom's podcast. So he brought his tequila for them to try, and he tried their vodka. So it's like we're in this new weird zeitgeist where celebrities are coming up with their own liquor companies and stuff like that, but not like buying into one and just slapping a name on it, like caring to make sure they make the best product possible. I've never tried Ryan Reynolds' gin, but I heard it's good.
I'm not a gin person.
I'm not either. Like, who just sits and drinks gin?
Not me.
It feels like it's just a mixer, right? Like, if you're gonna make a proper martini, I guess you're supposed to use gin. But here in Texas, I think we mostly use vodka because we don't understand what gin is. I'm not much of a rum guy, though.
I like rum. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I went to. Of course, went to college and everything. That's what I drank with is rum mainly.
Yeah. You do have a decent little selection of like rum and gin drinks in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't crack into it though on New Year's. I was being good.
Well, you could have asked. You could have done it. I don't care.
I mean, I brought my own whiskeys for that reason, but I mean, it's like because I wanted to drink stuff I knew that I'd be okay with to be able to get home. Because I knew even though I was drinking all night long, Jessica wasn't gonna drive home. She offered. But just trying to back out of your driveway was such a headache.
I know at night.
Yeah. Well, originally I thought I was going to pull around the whole way, but I did actually. I've only backed up that one section and then drove all the way around. But hell, there were so many people there already by the time we got there on New Year's.
I need lights.
You do need lights, but that'll scare away the alligator.
I haven't seen it in a while, anyway, so I don't know.
It'll come back here soon in the next heavy flood.
So next time you come over,
Yeah.
if you want to try something, go for it.
Same. I mean, like, come over on a day when you don't have to go back to work at some point, and you could have Saturday. Saturday, you can definitely try some more stuff.
Who says I gotta go back to work?
I know you don't have to. However, you do have to leave here at some point today.
Right.
Well, because I've got men's group tonight, so it's not a big deal. What, they know what I do. I've had one of my pastors on here drinking. Well, both of my pastors have come on here drinking a little bit, but it's because the idea is that drinking isn't bad, just getting shit faced is bad.
Agree.
So you can drink, and that's why I tend to offer
Solidarity.
Yes,
Moderation.
yes, the things we tend to have issues with here on this podcast.
That's why I'm changing everything. Coke.
Yeah. Speaking of, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Now You Made It Awkward podcast, episode 126 here in 2025. It's technically the second episode of 2025 because our New Year's shit show came out first, which I purposely held back a week so I could actually give myself a cushion because I knew there was going to be some heavy editing necessary. I did cut out at least 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes? That was it?
There's some stuff that I had to listen to the uncut already, and I'm like, I might go back and tweak some of this.
I know I was in and out of the whole conversation, what was going on. So if you just 10 minutes of it, that's actually not bad, I guess.
Well, I mean, in theory, it's fine. I think it'll be ultimately fine. But some of it was just like rambling nonsense, and then like the in betweens, like whenever we left the room and stuff like that. Like, oh, did I edit it? I think I edited that out. I have to go back over it now. Well, today's Monday. I got time. Usually Wednesday is when I do the final edit on anything. But guys, of course, I am Shoky. You can follow me at all the Shoky related things down below, including the Shoky Reviews Patreon, where you can get the full uncut video version of this podcast, which shouldn't be too crazy this week. But if you want to hear all the nonsense we were spouting on New Year's, you can do that. And speaking of New Year's, as he's taking a drink, so Jefe has the day off. He apparently did not have a good night and good beginning of his New Year's here. So he's taking the day off, which is fine. He was going to be here, but we got to allow grace. And so luckily I already had Chad here on the docket to come in. So otherwise that would have sucked.
Let the big bear sleep. It's okay.
Yeah, he needs it. Yep. He does not get enough sleep.
No, he doesn't.
He does not sleep enough. So, guys, if you ever hear us talking about the Chidey house, he is the Ch in the Chidey.
How's it going?
That is Chad over there, proprietor of G4 Graphics.
C4.
Why do I always say G?
Don't know.
Sorry, C4, like explosives.
Yeah, it's kind of a play on words. I'm Charles the Fourth. So that's the reason why I got C4 Graphics.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool, actually. Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, there's something that is G4 in my head other than the channel. And that's why I always think G4. Maybe it's just because it's graphics. So my brain goes.
That's probably it.
Either way, I'll get it right. I've only said it.
Hey, it's okay.
I've only said it twice ever. So I fucked it up twice. I'm batting 1,000,000 right now.
Third time's a charm. You'll get it right.
C4.
C4. See, there you go.
Yeah. So
like the drink. If you can think about the drink, there you go.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not a creator.
So here, every time I fuck it up, I'll have to take a drink. Oh no, G4. Actually, that's why. That's why. That's G4 tequila out there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That is literally got it. There we go. So if I wanted to punish myself, I'd just be drinking G4.
I think you do it on purpose, anyways.
Maybe, but I'm actually doing it unironically, just fucking it up. It's fine. It is what it is. So either way, so you have a graphics shop.
Yes, sir.
What do you do there? What services do you guys have?
Pretty much any kind of printing except for paper products, banners, signs. We actually do shirts at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of stuff for the schools, police department. We do the graphics and everything on the patrol cars, ambulances, things like that. So
I've seen the posts like where you list like did a freshly wrapped like Suburban or whatever for Tahoe for Willis or New Waverly,
mm-hmm.
and then I know there's some other things like bigger like promotional vehicles you've done here and there, and then of course your own. Yeah,
we do a lot of commercial vehicles, which is pretty cool. That's all over the place.
That's a kick-ass gig, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Because I knew a shop in Magnolia that took care of a lot of the Magnolia stuff too. Like they would bring in like the ambulances to be done in those shops. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like that there's like a lone proprietor doing that, not like some big county shop somewhere.
Yeah, a couple times now we've actually had to print it out and just send it to them to have someone else put it on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like we're venturing out on that aspect, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's actually pretty neat. Of course, there's always the fright of shipping a vinyl to someone, because I've had to deal with vinyl wraps coming through, even to myself. Like I've back in the day, what was it? The big heads or whatever.
Oh, the fat heads.
Fat heads on the walls. Like, I remember getting a lot of those that were like the tubes were destroyed. Like, and it's like, or it clearly says, "Do not stand on end," and then they all do it, and then the bottom just comes all crinkled.
We have that problem when it comes to material itself when we get it.
Yes.
When we get pictures of it, I'm like, oh my God, what happened to this thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
It went through the post office. That's what happened.
No, it's either UPS or FedEx.
Okay, it went through FedEx then, because they don't care. Oh, I didn't get a chance to talk about this here on the podcast yet, but I think I mentioned it at the party where the Amazon driver, like right up almost Christmas Eve, instead of delivering everything to our individual apartments, dropped everything at the fucking front office.
How many packages was that?
Like 70. Like I got the notification on my phone, like, hey, package was delivered, but the picture was like not my front door. So I was like, what the hell? But it showed on the tracking he was here. So I was like, okay, so he definitely came here, but where the fuck did he leave it? And it showed like a black floor mat and tile. So I was like, okay, that's got to be near the office. So I go down by the mailbox. There's a greeting mat there. There's nothing at the mailbox. I go to the back door of the office, you know, where the gym is. Nothing there. I walk around to the pool side. Nothing there. And I'm walking back through, and I look through the gym because it's just windows all the way through. And I see him on the other side, still there, with his unloading everything. And I run around and I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, huh? And I'm like, dude, this is the front office and it's closed. You can't just leave everything here. Not only that, he said he left it at the mail room. I was like, this is not the mail room. This is the front unsecured front door of the apartment complex. He's like, well, I'm new and they didn't give me the gate code. I was like, dude, I'll give you the gate code. I was like, but you can't leave all this shit here. I was like, this is people's like Christmas presents and everything. It's like, you can't do this.
So he thought it was okay just to leave.
He thought it was
everything
okay
there.
just to leave everything unsecured. I will say he had everything sorted by building.
He took the time to do that. But
But not actually to come in. So I gave him the gate code, and we went to church the next morning. By the way, I got my packages. And then we went out the next morning. I was like, hold on. Let's go by the front office and see if he actually did it. And while there was not like 70 packages there was probably about 20, and they were tucked all the way back because it was raining. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? So, like, I don't know if he got fired or whatever. Somebody probably complained. Or somebody stole all that shit. I don't know.
Someone got a nice Christmas then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because that was my biggest thing is like, okay, luckily I'm the first person who got this notification. Because I guarantee you there's probably a couple of people who are less than virtuous living here that would have got that notification and come up here and just literally picked up whatever they could and gone home.
Yeah, if anything, they're probably doing the same thing you were, trying to track down,
Try to figure out where the fuck it was. Because you couldn't see that it was our... If you had taken a... Well, maybe some of the other people did, where it was closer to the actual mat and actually says the apartment complex name. Like, that would have been a dead giveaway where he left it. But I said, dude, if you're going to do this, at least do it in the mailroom because it's secured and behind the gate. You know, and they finally fixed the walk gate, so it actually locks. So, used to be they just said screw it, took the lock off and left it wide open so anybody could come in. But either way, that was just ridiculous. I'm like, man, this is an apartment complex. It's like 70 people's worth of shit. I get it. If you just want to be lazy and be a dickhead, that's fine. But he clearly, like, he didn't sound like he was lying. He just sounded like an idiot. So I was just like, okay, this guy's just dumb. He's new at this. It's Christmas time. Amazon has enough problems right now. But this guy ain't going to work here more than a week if somebody complained. So either way, that was stupid. That's how I basically like, because it wasn't Christmas presents, but it was the stuff I needed for New Year's. It was the new cables and the new boom arms for New Year's. So I'd have been real pissed. That was like $150 worth of stuff.
Oh God, yeah, that would sucked.
Yeah, I mean, not the most amount of stuff that's ever been lost by a delivery driver for me, but you know, that's why I have a thing against FedEx, because at least UPS seems to be a little bit easier to deal with when shit goes wrong, because you can get a hold of someone. FedEx, good luck.
I agree.
Like
100%. FedEx, it sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they lost an expensive package of mine that I literally could not replace. It was a limited edition item, and they said they delivered it to my door. There was no picture, and I filed a complaint. They said, nope, we delivered it where it went, and then shut it. I'm like, no. And of course, there's no one to call. There's no one to hold accountable. And the drivers were changing constantly. Like, I could tell it wasn't my normal driver who would have done it.
So do you know your drivers personally? Do you talk to them at all?
I know at the old apartment, yes. Here, no. Like because it changes here fairly often, but I had the same driver for probably like 2.5 years, and I ordered shit all the time that came through FedEx.
So that's the cool thing with us. I mean, because I have FedEx or UPS that delivers our stuff to the shop, but
Yeah.
I actually have our UPS driver's number.
Yes.
So if I can, excuse me. So if I have anything that's personable that needs to come in, I need to get a hold of him and say, hey, man, do you have this? Can I get it real quick? And
Yeah.
I'll meet up with him and I'll get it. So it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah. And then, of course, out where you live, you have the same UPS driver as Jeff because you're right down the fucking road.
But sometimes they've messed up. They actually delivered it to the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Or one digit off.
Yeah.
And they send a picture. Hey, here's your package. It's on their front porch.
Yeah.
Which we know our neighbors, so it's fine that way. You can just go pick it up. But
Which the funny part is the first time we got the description of, the first time we came over last year, you're like, not that house, the next one. It's like, okay, I totally see how anyone could fuck this up. And then even because New Year's, we started at like 7, or we got there like 7:30, and it was dark. This is the first time we've come there in the dark. So it was like, okay, where is it? Where is it? That's not it. Okay, next one. It's like, we went by the house we know you aren't.
yes.
So
And we're the next one.
yes. And then it was like, okay, let's make sure we make it in the gate, not through the gate. So yeah, that was fun in the dark. And then trying to park once again in the lights. We'll get you some lights.
Yeah.
We'll
I got
do
one
it.
out front, but that doesn't do anything. I need to go all the way around the house.
Can you sing? Because if you can, we can do a fundraiser.
Oh, no.
We did that for Jordan last year when he needed some funds, or he was in between jobs. So I had him come on and do some of his Elvis performance for money on a live stream.
That's awesome.
It was fun. And he did good. Completely. I told him, he came over and I said, we're going to do a fundraiser. I didn't tell him he was going to sing. And I said, dude, the best way you're going to get money is by taking requests. And we're on YouTube, so we got a little bit of freedom here. And I'm not monetized, so don't worry about it. I was like, so we're just going to take donations and you're going to sing. He's like, what?
Now, my wife can probably tell you that I can sing, but I haven't really. No. I'll sing in the shower or sing in the car, but I am.
I got a shower right there. We
Oh
can move
my
the
God.
mic. I got a 10-foot cord. We can make it happen.
Yippee.
I got lapel mics. We could mic you up in that. Yeah. I could mic you up and hook it up in here. That'd be funny. No, I'm just kidding. But either way, I did forget the rest of the promos, but it's fine. Jeff isn't here, but you can follow him at Grounded and Grumpy at the Instagrams if you want to. But also, guys, if you want to message the show, you can do so at NowYouMadeItAwkwardMail at gmail.com. The email does work, in fact. I checked it earlier. There's no new emails, but it's okay. Because nobody sent in their end of the year lists, and they should have.
Any New Year's resolutions?
Well, we talked about that on our thing. We don't have the resolutions, but we have plans. Like, so I'm working on the idea of losing weight and working out. Like, we talked about that.
I felt good the other day and actually started losing weight a little bit.
Oh, yeah? Take good shit?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It was nice.
Nice.
Now I'm actually below 210. So in the first
What's
time
that like?
I
mean, I'm happy if I'm below 310.
You don't weigh that much, do you?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I got up to 315.
God, I don't see that.
I think
So-
well, I also have digestive issues that will block me up for a couple weeks. So I might legitimately put on like 2 to 3 or 4 pounds because I can't go to the bathroom. Or I think I did and I didn't. I'm working on that. I started taking fiber. So that's the first
That's a good thing to do right there.
Yeah, so I skipped it for a couple days and I felt the difference. It's like I didn't think I would feel the difference because I didn't think I was taking enough. Because it says like take 20 fucking pills if you want to really make the difference. I need to get the mix in stuff, but I'm going to go through the pills first. But yeah, that's been making a big difference in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. But like I said, I could tell the difference when I wasn't doing it. But getting in a gym, which is literally right fucking there, doing that again, at least doing some cardio, more cardio than usual. Hard part for me is being on blood pressure meds. Like your heart rate always wants to stay low, so you have to work so much harder to get into the burn fat.
Well, you got the stairs. You can just
Yeah,
up and down 'em.
so I came up. I did do a thing. It was go up and down the stairs until I can't, and then I do laps out here in the dog park area because it's kind of a figure 8. So I'll do every lap. There's like sit down benches. So every time I pass the bench, I do 5 push-ups. So I do stairs until I can't, and then I do as fast a lap as I can walking because I can't really run, and then do 5 push-ups. And I do that until I can't. And then the reason I do the stairs first is so I can make it back up. It's like, because if I'm too tired, if I do the stairs last, I did that one time where I started like 2 buildings over, and I planned it so I was like, okay, I got to make sure that the final trip up the stairs is to home.
Is your last?
Yeah, it's the last one, and
Gonna
so
crash.
But I need to do the weightlifting stuff because I've definitely gotten weak at work. I can tell. Like it's like a 70-pound box. I mean, like everybody deals with shit, but like 70-pound things that I got to deal with at work that are shouldn't be that heavy, or like, oh fuck. Actually, I think that's what happened to my back the other week that messed me up. Was I picked up something that didn't seem that heavy, and it fucking was.
You're not as young as you used to be.
Yeah. I mean, literally getting older this week, hitting the big 4-2. Look, you're one of the few people who've come on here who's older than me. Not by much.
Should I feel privileged?
Yes, because Will is way younger than me. Sean is just barely younger than me. I got 2 years on Jefe, give or take, because he just turned 40.
God, I forget. He's just now 40.
Yeah, well, he looks worse than us. That's
I think he's been through a lot more than us, too.
That is fair. That is fair. Though that is also like, you can, and I had this thought the other day. It's like, yes, we didn't go to war, but some of us have been through some shit anyways.
Very good.
It's like, yes, we didn't see friends blown up in Afghanistan. I'm just saying, I don't know that happened to him, but there are stories out there for plenty of other people. I know other people who did far worse things in war for that first push after 9/11. But, like I knew a guy who went in immediately, like out of high school before everything went wrong. And he was part of like the first like 4 deployments in Afghanistan when they didn't have enough people and they had to just keep sending people back. So they're like, hey, you're going to go do another year-long tour. They're like, fuck this, all the nightmares.
Probably 3 or 4 tours right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Sean, he's gone through a lot of shit in his own life, just being in a fucking small town and all the craziness that goes on with that small North Texas town. Fucking crackheads, fucking murders, all kinds of crazy shit. Not him, but people he knew, I should say. Oh, by the way, I'm not gonna bring it up right this second, but there's something I've been trying to look into, and I cannot find fucking news articles on it. It was something that happened in my neighborhood when I was a kid. But I brought up Sean because, of course, as usual, Sean sends in a message every week. And being the first new message of the year, I have no idea what the fuck he's sending in, but you can do that at our Facebook page at Now You Made It Awkward Podcast on Facebook. You can send in a message, and then after you send an initial message, you can send in a voicemail message. So if you want to send any questions, comments, and things like that, you can do so on our Facebook page. Link down below. All right, Sean, what do we got? What do we got for our first message of the year?
Question for the pod. So what is something or maybe a few things that you two guys are looking forward to this year? It could be movies coming out. It could be an event you're going to. It could be something you're personally trying to achieve. It could be anything. Like let's just talk about happy, hopeful thoughts, right? Because everything else sucks right now. So what's something you guys are looking forward to in 2025? Me, I'm looking forward to getting my short block back from the machine shop so I can get this beast a-going. Because I cannot wait to hear this thing run. I've sank a lot of money and a lot of man hours busting my ass to make this happen. So me and my pops can have one more joyride and something cool while he's still here.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose behind this whole mission, was to do something cool one more time while he's still here. Anyway, what you guys?
So yeah, he talked, or Jefe talked about his engine the other day, and then he did confirm that the details that Jeff said were correct, size wise and stuff like that. But it's fine. But it's actually, I think he said it's a 460 block, and it's board stroked all the hell.
Okay, what is it actually? Because I've talked about
it was a five. I think he said it was a 525 or 575.
What's it going in?
So an old Ford truck. So back in the day, like they're a Ford family. Like they've had a lot of things, but they're a Ford family. So he had a ridiculous hot rod, like 4-door long bed F-150 back in the day. And they like chopped the roof, did a crazy paint job on it and everything. That was his high school ride. So like him and his family off and on have had different hot rod type vehicles, like souped up built motors. So basically he's building a more like resto mod for not so old, like not 70s. That was like a 70s truck into an 80s, like 80s F-150 short bed. But he wants this very particular trim package that is incredibly difficult to find now. Thanks, Obama. So right now his hard time is trying to find a truck, and I think he settled on a long bed that he's going to chop into a short bed because it's the only one he's found. Because he can buy the trim for a fuckload of money, but it was easier than finding an actual short bed that's in decent condition. Because he found one that was in horrendous condition, unlike what the Facebook Marketplace said. So either way, yeah, that is a big deal because he's been working on this motor for a while. The parts have been across the fucking country, out of the country, like I talked about the intake manifold that went to Mexico. And I think the machine shop doing the actual block and heads and everything is in the Northeast. So like it's literally this motor will have
Been all over the place.
It's been all over the fucking place. I'm looking forward to our trip to Maryland in March. So we actually need to get tickets for that or figure out whether or not we're driving again. I'm okay with driving, but it means I have to take the whole ass week, which I can't because the week I need off is not the week I got for vacation because my vacation got bumped by a guy with higher seniority, which is bullshit. And I'm trying to fight it either way. So I already told my boss, I'm like, look, I'll work my actual vacation week. I don't care, but I'm taking off that weekend regardless. Find me fucking cover because I'm going to be in another state. If we fly, that saves at least a day or two of travel, bare minimum.
How long's the drive?
About 18 to 19 hours.
Oh, see, that's not the. I've done that before to go into Indiana. So
Yes, but
just you driving?
no.
Okay.
We'll both be in the car. But the thing is,
Well, I knew that. But
when we did it 2 years ago, we stopped in Nashville overnight and then did the rest of the journey. No, I'm sorry. Okay, it can't be. It was no, because we stopped in Memphis to do Graceland. So we did Graceland for like 3 hours, and then we had another 6 or 7 hours to get, not quite to get to Nashville. And then it was 10 or 11 hours from Nashville to Frederick. So we're not going to Frederick directly this time around. We're going to a different city that's about 40 minutes away to go visit Dante. But I'll go to Frederick because if I'm going all the way up to Maryland, I'm going to see the people I know there. Because that would be fucking retarded to not visit the other people I know, right?
go all that way and
Go all the way. But like, I don't care about driving, but since I won't have the time, I got to risk the flight, you know? And for me, I'm going to be like, let's get as early in the fucking day as possible so that I have time to do shit when we get there. Mm-hmm. You know, not to mention, got to get a rental car, fucking drive to wherever the fuck we're going and stuff like that. So planning on being on his episode 200 that's recording in March. Like, that's of only one of his podcasts. His other podcasts have exceeded that, but that particular one will be episode 200. And it just happens to coincide when I'm effectively on vacation. So I was like, fuck it, I'm coming, bitch. So looking forward to that. And don't have any other major plans for the year so far. And obviously we talked about losing weight for, well, health and everything else. So what do you got?
The only thing I really want to do that I didn't do this year is actually take a destination Christmas. I know that's passed already, but I'm thinking about it for this next year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take my parents because they haven't gone on vacation at all in forever.
Mm-hmm.
So we plan on going somewhere to do that, mainly like Pigeon Forge area. So we go like the week before Christmas and enjoy that shit. And
what is with Pigeon Forge? Like Jessica brings it up all the time. Is there just a lot of shit there?
There's a lot of shit there.
Is it
there
like,
definitely is?
Is it like what is it? Branson, Missouri, where it's like that's like a weird destination everybody goes to.
Yeah, I mean they've got all kinds of stuff within like 5-10 miles, and you can do all kinds of stuff.
I mean, that'd be cool. Like Jessica keeps bringing it up. Like she brought up this other place. She said for a destination vacation, she sent me a thing. It's a Star Wars like weekend type thing. They built like a little Tatooine Airbnb situation. Like they built these like go-karts that are the land speeders that you can drive around in and shit. I mean, it looks cool, but it's also desert. So it's like I don't want to go from here in Texas where it's already hot and stupid to a place that's trying to simulate Tatooine. I don't know about you. It's like, I'd rather go to like indoor where it's trees and pretty and the teddy bears are trying to eat me. But, you know.
Ewoks.
Yeah, Ewoks. Nobody ever talks about the fact those motherfuckers are cannibals. They were planning on eating everyone. They're like, no, they're heroes. It's like, yes, after they decided to worship a golden god. And the golden god said, don't eat my friends. Whatever. Also, who the fuck programmed him with Ewokese? right?
Ewokies.
Whatever
The
their
language?
language is. It's like, like they weren't a known fucking species. It was like an uninhabited world for the most part. Like, if it wasn't for the Empire doing their shit there, like, who the fuck gave him the ability to speak that language?
Was he able to decipher it for some reason?
Maybe, I guess.
That's smart. I don't know. He was a linguist, wasn't he?
He was a what was the actual term? Human cyborg relations. It's like, but also the fact that he was supposedly built by Anakin, but I don't think he was. I think he was rebuilt by Anakin. I think he took one of those protocol droids and redid it. I don't know. C-3PO is fucking weird in the first place. We all know that R2-D2 is technically the hero of the story.
Very true.
Yeah, he was there for all of it. He's been in every movie.
I think every show and everything too. Well, mostly.
Not in Ahsoka. Was he? Luke was in Ahsoka. Was R2 might have been with him
Wasn't he there
on
when
he
the
was
grounds?
building the school in Ahsoka?
I'm trying to remember that.
Or was that no? That was in.
That was another droid.
I don't know if he was in Ahsoka, but he definitely was in Mando. Because Luke was there. So wait, was he? I don't remember now. I mean, it's a fair question. Like, I don't think he's been in all the shows, but he's been in every movie. Like, they make sure the droids are in every movie, even Rogue One. It's like, which I still think is the best Star Wars movie.
Really?
Rogue One?
Standoff. That's it.
Yeah, I think it is the best movie of the thing. It has almost nothing to do with any of the Skywalker nonsense, but as a standalone movie of Star Wars, it probably has the most war really happening on screen. You get to see what people are actually fucking dealing with in the rebellion, not just focusing on Luke learning to be a Jedi and Leia hiding from Vader. I mean, like, it is the most Star Wars we get in a Star Wars movie. I think it was probably the best written out of all of it, and actually gave you character and shit like that, not just here's your trope, here's your next trope, here's your next trope.
Now you're talking about Rogue One now, so did you like Andor?
I love Andor. It's fucking amazing. And the sad thing is we will never get the full series we deserve.
Because of the movie.
Well, no, because they couldn't do 5 series back to back. Because they wanted to do five seasons to cover the 5 years between it and the movie. They're doing season 2, but it's been 4 fucking years. 4 years. Like, that's a huge gap to attempt to make up in a TV show. So they're basically going to have to go from Andor year 1 to Andor year 4, and then maybe do like a quick little scooch into year 5. So instead of building out that whole character, seeing what the rebellion was doing for 5 years, because you can't de-age characters that hard. I mean, you can, but it's far more expensive now.
AI can do that, can't they?
They can, but I mean, considering what they did with Luke, the face replacement on Luke in Mando season 3 was pretty solid. Like, after they fixed it from that one episode of that one episode in season 2 was janky, but by the time they actually got to the way they did it in Mando season, or was that? No, that was Book of Boba Fett. Those 2 episodes. So Mando 2.5. So that they did an amazing job of face replacement for that guy, because that wasn't even. Everybody's like, hey, look, they de-aged Luke. It's like, no, that's a face replacement. They just put a whole digital face on someone else that sort of looks like Mark Hamill. Sort of. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy we can do that shit. So, I mean, and now we got Darth Vader in perpetuity.
Excuse me, sorry.
Because you didn't need
I
that.
was dropping everything.
It's fine. You can pick it up.
Excuse me, y'all.
Me, leave this in. Leave the dad groan in. It's fine, though. Oh, I forgot. We have new buttons. New to the show. I did create the buttons, and there is
very nice.
And there is the. So that's when somebody stumbles over their words, and then that's when somebody really stumbles over their words, is when you get the fuck in there too. I mean, we've been talking about it since Jeff first came on the show to get Lucas to do that drop, and now we have it. That's fun. I actually had to offload it, edit it, boost the audio, and then put it back on here.
I was wondering if you'd done anything with it at all.
Yeah,
That's great.
Well, because it was in one big stream of like a minute and a half, so I had to cut down to the thing. So the one I have for Jessica, which is
What the hell?
that's just raw audio on here. So like it's unedited at all, so it's a little bit different. That's the one reason it's the only button that's red and the rest of them are blue. It color codes like, oh no, this is my audio. And it's like, oh, that's your audio? That's blue. It's funny.
Is that often used? No, what the hell?
It is. Like but I forget it's there. Most of the time we get the
If your balls a tongue, you tit fucker.
or
Fucking embarrassing.
so I get all the different Shorzy or Letterkenny things. Oh, I got to talk about this. Shorzy season 4 trailer has been up and I didn't even know about it. Like I told Jeff about it. He's like, yeah, I knew it was coming. I was like, why didn't you say fucking anything? I'm sitting here thinking it's going to take forever for it to come out. No, it drops later this month. It says, unfortunately, in the one trailer, it says winter 2025. And I'm like, fuck, we got to wait till the end of the year. And then it says January 25th. And I'm like, there's 2 winters in every year. It's like, I mean, we're going through winter today here in Texas.
You mean you have like 2 weeks in Texas this winter?
However, the only thing that sucks is it won't be available to us here in the States until the season concludes. So they do it week to week on Crave TV in Canada. But because there's no Crave affiliate here other than Hulu, and because they're not going to simulcast that shit, and I don't know why they wouldn't just offset it a week and be like, okay, you get episode 1 this week and then Hulu gets it next week. No, they wait till the whole series is done over the course of the month and then they drop it. So 6 fucking weeks we got to wait. So I think they're dropping the first 2. Yeah, so they drop the first 2 simultaneously and then the next ones are week to week. And then after it's all over, I think we got to wait an extra week and then they drop it on Hulu.
See, are you one of the guys that actually likes like how Netflix does it where they drop the whole episode, whole season, and everything all in one bit, and you can watch straight through, or do you like it where you go week to week?
Yeah. So now that I've learned that binge watching actually is bad for you, memory wise, I don't binge if it's a series that doesn't matter. Like there's a couple series I've been watching. See, this is the problem. It's like you binge shut, you forget about it. It's called Secret Level. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's an anthology type show. So it's dropping like 3 to 6 episodes at a time. They're really short, but you just sit there and you binge them. And then you fucking forget what you watched because your brain didn't have time to process it. And like when Game of Thrones, I binge watched Game of Thrones with Jessica to get her caught up to speed on like the last 2 seasons. So she came in on like season 7. So we had to watch 6.5 fucking seasons of Game of Thrones all at once to get her caught up so that she could be up to snuff, right? So I had watched it the slow way after season 3. So I binge watched the first 3 seasons and then watched everything as it came out over the years. I remember most of Game of Thrones. But if I were to binge watch, like I guarantee you, if I ask Jefe if he remembers specific details about the whole season, that he watched the entire series in like 2 weeks. I guarantee you he doesn't fucking remember a lot of the details. Like character names, when shit happened, what season. It's like you don't file away that info properly when you binge watch it. So certain series that don't really matter much, sure, binge watch it. But I like week to week because it also gives us something to talk about. Especially on this show,
Well, I'm going to hurt your feelings in your audience.
I don't care.
I haven't watched Game of Thrones at all.
That doesn't hurt my feelings. It should hurt your feelings that you haven't watched it.
Probably.
Yeah, because it's a good show. So it is a good show overall. If you like fantasy at all. Some people just don't like fantasy.
No, it's not that I just never got into it. Maybe I should start watching it to give me something to watch. But yeah, I just haven't got
Well, considering that the new series is going to be wrapping up in like 2 seasons, you'd probably be good to get caught up. That we don't have to binge watch 12 seasons. Because it's eight seasons of Game of Thrones and now 2 seasons of House of the Dragon. So, and then a new series that's coming out, Night of 7 Kingdoms. That's going to be a limited series. It's probably going to be like 6 episodes. That's just a singular spinoff story somewhere in between. So this is the fucked up part, and I told Jeff about this. Night of the 7 Kingdoms takes place after House of the Dragon, but before Game of Thrones, and it's coming out before House of the Dragons has concluded. So spoilers, within the next series that's going to be coming out. So it's like, why would you do that? Like, wait until it's over. It's like you're going to be introducing characters that are descendants of characters on the show. So it kind of gives away for anybody who hasn't read the books. It's like, it's kind of dumb to do that. But HBO. I'm right. HEB does not know what to do with Game of Thrones.
Very good.
But neither does HBO, because George R.R. Martin doesn't know what to do with Game of Thrones. That's why he basically just said a couple weeks ago he doesn't plan on finishing it ever.
He's just going to let it just drop off. That's it?
Yeah.
Or just gonna...
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
best case scenario, go with a ghostwriter. Hand it off to someone else to finish the fucking books, or feed it into ChatGPT with the details. I mean, realistically, give it the details you definitely want to hit the plot points, fix the details into it, or feed the previous books into it, right? So you can do that. So throw the books that exist into it up to where he currently has written, feed the plot points and character things that he needs to have happen, and have the fucking thing written by AI for all it matters.
Instead of just letting it go and complete cliffhanger.
Because, I mean, why abandon a fucking thing you started 25 fucking years ago? Oh, that's right, because he's made all the money now, and he's already like 78, or however old he is.
So I'm going to retire now.
He's been retired. Shit, he's written other stuff. I mean, hell, the reason he handed it off to, I think it's Dan and Dave, the guys who did the show, basically is like, because he knew he wasn't going to be anywhere near finishing the last 2 books. That's why the last 3 seasons were wonky. Because after season 5, they were totally off book. Like, they told him, he gave him the plot points and he gave him the character points and said, go make it happen. Here's how it ends. Or how I think it'll end. And so their ending doesn't necessarily, and people were so pissed off with the way it ended, because also HBO said, hey, wrap this shit up, we're done. So they had to shorten the last 2 seasons, so they had to fucking barrel through a fucking story that probably needed another season to really complete. And so that's one reason why it fucking hurts that the books aren't done, because the fans feel like they're just left in the ether with a realistically unfinished story, and the one that is finished sucks to them. And they're working on a sequel series. So what other since New Year's, have you managed to watch anything else? Because we talked about Penguin, we talked about Batman and stuff like that.
No, I haven't watched The Penguin. I've been watching, I mean, this is going along with Star Wars. I've been watching, the Skeleton Crew.
Yes, I just got caught up on it yesterday. What do you think? We haven't even talked about it on the show yet.
It's actually not bad. I mean, I like it. I don't know, the whole thing with the kids and everything like that. I'm trying to figure out where Jude Law, where his character, how his powers and everything. I mean, he's got to be some kind of Jedi and everything.
So which episode have you left off on?
I'm on the last one.
Okay, so you're off.
I'm caught up.
You're up to current. Okay.
Yeah.
So that helps, and there's no spoils. So as far as I know, he's not a canon like Jedi character at all. So I think he's definitely been trained in the ways of the Force by someone at some point, because I think this is taking place roughly the same time because we're in the New Republic era. So this is still Mandoverse, basically. But the main thing I kind of like about it, no, actually, yes, okay, so I had to remember the timeline. Mandoverse takes place prior to episode 7 and all that. We still got like 20 some odd years for all that. Because Mando started 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and then concluded, I think, 7 or 9 years total so far. Like Mando season 3, I think is 7 years. I could be wrong. BBY. That's their in-universe Battle of Yavin. So everything that happens after the Battle of Yavin is BBY. So it is what it is. Nerd. All right. Either way. So I like it. I think it's a good show. The first episode, you're like, what is this little bullshit middle school kid drama set in the Star Wars universe? And then it picks up real fucking fast.
Yes, it does.
In episode 2, you're just like, okay. And I like how, for anybody who isn't watching Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus, it's Goonies mixed into Star Wars with a hint of Peter Pan. And I think it's funny how they threw in the Peter Pan reference in there with the robot. And like, I know a lot of people caught
Smee.
it. Smee. I'm just like, really? The first mate
SM-33.
robot is SM-33. I'm like, good job, Disney. Good job. But then like a lot of it is like, okay, I could see how, because forgot his name, his actual character name, but the Jude Law's character, it's either like Jan or no, that's a different character. It's like Silver, yeah, because he goes by like he's a pirate. He goes by
several
like
different names.
yeah, so like he's almost. Oh wait, his name is like John or Jan or something like that, isn't it?
John Silver.
Long John Silver.
Oh my God, you're right.
I think they did that. So he gives like multiple character names depending on who he's done business with, and apparently he's fucking hated by everyone.
Everybody.
He is the Jack Sparrow of this universe, and you can tell he is like the lovable rogue who's not necessarily a bad guy, but is still a fucking pirate, even though he can lie really, really effectively well. But the way the story, the actual bigger universe story that's unfolding within it, with the whole concept of like the hidden 9 planets, and like Aten is obviously where the kids came from, and how it's like this perfect, like weird suburban paradise, which the suburbs in Star Wars was like the biggest fucking mind-blowing thing. I was like, we've only ever seen like the dirty or like super polished. We've never seen like
anything in between.
Normal everyday fucking people going to work like with their briefcase, and like kids hopping on their fucking scooter to go to school down the road, or hopping on the bus. And it's like, that's why I was like, it is very much like the Goonies, like, because you talk about the group of kids that come together. Some of them are friends, some of them are not. I love that the main character, who I'm not entirely certain is the main character, like Wim, like, is he the main character? Because like he's kind of isn't at the same time. And then like him and Neil are like pretending to be Jedi at the beginning, which I thought was cute. You know, even trying to have a lightsaber duel. So like the idea that the Jedi and all that stuff is still folklore, but he takes it serious enough that like he's looking at kids' books on his pad, which talk about Jedi excursions and like this other stuff. So he thinks he finds a Jedi temple when he discovers the spaceship, which is kind of funny in its own right. Though, of course,
But how would they know about Jedis if that planet they're on is so secluded from
because it would have been,
because
it would have been secluded before the Old Republic, or in the time of the Old Republic, and Jedi were totally active. But because they become like this secluded thing as the Empire was rising, basically. And what apparently it is based in some aspects of books somewhere, because that's what they do now. They just take old excluded lore and build up a new story to somehow Palpatine returns. The ultimate goal is to get to the somehow. So they spend all these series getting us to somehow. We learn about the cloning technology in Mando, how the fucking First Order is coming about. So really what they're saying is a lot of these planets that are hidden all have a part to play in the First Order eventually coming to power. Because you've got Aten, which has apparently all the fucking money. If you ever wondered how the hell they managed to afford to build this massive fleet of Star Destroyers in secret somewhere, it's like, well, a planet that basically just has unlimited funds, and then you have planets who have unlimited mining. You know, so basically you just have 9 planets that have all your resources building up, except for the one like nuke to hell planet, which I thought was cool. It's like that bait and switch in like the last episode.
Yeah.
That was cool. They think they're going home, and then they end up on a planet that looks
like theirs,
has all the same shit as theirs, but is a different at something planet. So I was like, I like that when they build out the Star Wars lore. And this is something I talked about with a friend of mine a long time ago. There's doing Star Wars and there's building Star Wars. A lot of these movies and series, they just do Star Wars. This is building on Star Wars. Stuff that we never heard about.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention showing how the New Republic is really fucking stupid. And they don't pay attention to the fact that the new empire is rising up directly underneath them, and they're funding it, and they don't even realize it because they're dug into their bureaucratic bullshit so deep they can't see the fact that they literally, hey, we're going to bring all the bad guys in, give them bullshit desk jobs, make them paid prisoners, and then assume they'll be fine with that. Right. And then you've got the Empire, you got like Moff Gideon out there basically building up his whole fucking thing against his personal war against the Mandalorians, which pretty fucking cool in its own right. Oh, wait. Oh, that won't be here till tomorrow? That sucks. Sorry. Amazon. I thought it was going to be here today. I ordered myself a whole bunch of meat probes since I'm going to be cooking large slabs of meat. I only have one remote meat probe, and the ones that I have that plug into my thing don't fucking work anymore. Like the last slab of meat I was cooking, I sat there and I watched as the temperature just started dropping for no reason on the meat probe. I'm like, I think that's dead now.
Yeah.
It's like, it didn't
If
shut
it's cooking
off.
and it's not, yeah.
It's like, that was getting hot until a while ago. So, but I just ordered a 3-pack because they were on sale. A set of 3 meat probes was cheaper than a set of 2 of the same brand. I was like, yeah, I'll go for that deal. It's like, I'll get 3 of them, then I'll have 4 total. So I can cook like a lot more shit now. Because I want to, if I end up doing all the picanhas at the same time, I want to be able to at least monitor all of them, you know, if I'm going to barbecue them. I don't know if I'm going to do barbecue or steaks. Like I said, I was mentioning that earlier. But anyway, back to Star Wars. I do also like the look of the show. You know, it still feels a little bit like they're doing a lot on the volume. Like, so they don't have to build a whole lot of practical sets, but they're changing the planet so much. Like, you're going to so many different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they had to. Like the observatory with the owl bat, the owl
Yeah,
cat
that was
lady.
interesting.
That's a character we've never seen.
Mm-mm.
We've never seen that kind of alien species. Nothing. Not to mention, she's a fucking a map hoarder. I was like, huh. I was like, yeah. Wait, where would you go to get any fucking maps of the galaxy? Like, clearly they've mapped most of it, except for the unknown regions, which nobody goes to because lightning and shit. As we learned in episode 9. Fucking episode 9. Okay, hold on. I have to judge you real quick. Do you love or hate episode 8? The Last Jedi. Which way do you go with it?
I don't know.
Like, is it better or worse than episode 9?
I mean, it's all right, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. So,
I mean, it's not like cinematic masterpiece or anything.
no. But I'm in the class that episode 8 isn't the end of everything Star Wars. I'm in the class of I actually really like episode 8, but episode 9 was just a Twitter apology. So it's like they spent the entire movie undoing episode 8 instead of just progressing the story. So, like, for me, I'm in the class of fuck episode 9. It's over there somewhere, much like these Star Trek nerds are right now with Discovery trying to get it removed from canon. I don't know if you heard about this shit at all. I'll get into it in a minute, but that's been a whole fucking thing throughout Christmas through New Year's. Is the last episode of Star Trek Lower Decks did a sight gag as part of the story, and these people who hate Star Trek Discovery took it to mean, oh, it's no longer canon. We can get this bullshit series out of here. It's not canon anymore. Like, wow, that was like, you like bought the whole collection of Jump to Conclusion mats. It's like, Jesus Christ. Because Star Trek canon is more complicated than Star Wars canon at this point. Because Disney, who owns all of it, said, we're throwing out all the books. Those don't count anymore. And we'll just slowly bring back shit we kind of like and sort of fits the story we built. Star Trek said, everything after this year doesn't count because it wasn't owned by CBS anymore, and Paramount technically didn't own the proper rights to Star Trek, so everything after 2005 doesn't count. Okay.
I mean, it just doesn't count at all. Like,
They said it just literally it doesn't count at all into canon of Star Trek. That's what half this group says. But even though, this is the funny part. So all of the series that have come out in the last 5-6 years are like some of them, like Discovery was the first one that came out. It takes place in the before times. Like, it even precedes the original series. So they should be able to play around with canon because it's stuff that was not exactly covered, and they're playing with a new set of characters. Yes, the Enterprise does come along, and yes, it is a very important thing that happens in season 2. And then we start introducing characters who are from the original timeline, all this other stuff. And then they're like, but that doesn't make sense. The technology exists there. We've never heard of this ship. And then they gave you an in-universe reason why nobody's heard of this ship, where it fucking went, blah, 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 blah. And they've said, that's not good enough. This is woke bullshit. There's reasons for that. And then every season after season 3 has been in the far-flung future where there also has been nothing written. So it went place beforehand in the past and way past anything in the future. So people are complaining. It's like, that kind of just goes completely around existing canon. Shut your fucking face. Who cares? But they hate it so much because there is a lot of woke messaging in the show. I mean, they literally have a whole episode about transgenderism. Like, very specifically. Where a character literally says, oh, it's them, not she. I was like, okay, great. But they actually had an in-universe reason to say that, but they didn't say it for that reason. So I don't know if you're much of a Star Trek nerd or not. I don't know where your lines are there.
I haven't watched it in a long time. I mean, I have, but I mean,
okay, so you remember DS9 at all? Or
okay. DS9, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you remember Dax,
Mhm.
Being a Trill, they got a symbiote. Except they call it something slightly different. I don't know, wording. So they have a Trill character. It's and it's the only one like in the Federation. They're trying to get home to go do the transfer because they basically have to be in a spot and transfer from a Trill to another Trill. They didn't have a Trill on board. The ship got attacked. The symbiote needed to be saved. They threw it into a nearby human. Okay. It's already hard because you have a multi-generational organism living inside a person who can't process that brain-wise. So that character was already androgynous. Fine, right? And also had the person who had the symbiote before them was a Trill who was also very androgynous sexuality and stuff like that because they go into male and female characters, whatever. So now that person's quote unquote boyfriend, their previous existence is now inside them, including the memories of the person they used to be with.
Okay.
So for me, if they wanted to say my pronouns are they, them, it's because I have literally multiple generations of people inside my fucking brain. That would have made sense. Nope. They made it 100% about gender, not about the obvious alien thing living inside them. So that's where I say, okay, they've gone off the deep end here in that particular way. They could have done the message without being direct. That's why people kind of hate it. That and Burnham, the main character, is given. Burnham is the only one who can and will save everything. That's the way they made this character. Female black character. Therefore, she has to do all the things. Nothing can be done without her. She is the end all be all of the show. Main reason I think a lot of people hate it. The writing was iffy. Writer's strike didn't help all that. So that happened. And then followed by Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is still before the original series of Star Trek and is following the Enterprise crew with the older captain before Kirk came along. So Captain Pike, who was introduced in Strange New Worlds, in Discovery. And he's played by Anson Mount, who is a fucking fantastic actor. And it's been a decent show. It does some weird shit here and there. And obviously it doesn't look like old Trek, but they're like trying to slowly say like, how did we get from like cool, shiny holographic stuff to the way the original series looked? Is like, I think they kind of explained it away that there's a way that like technology is like, fuck, okay. There's like, we'll eventually get there again, but like we can't handle this on certain ships,
Like some of them have to like go backwards.
Technology and design wise, basically is what's going to happen. But you could also just go, hey, it's a new show. It doesn't have to look like the old shit. We don't have to get to the matte painted, all the other nonsense over here. It's okay. Plus, the Strange New Worlds / Discovery version of the Enterprise is gorgeous, and I love it. I actually have a couple models of it in there. I have Star Trek ships tucked away up there because I have nowhere to put them out here.
I'll have to look here in a minute.
Yeah, well, I'll have to pull a couple out. But that version of the Enterprise, while it is the original one, it doesn't look the same. You can see where they're going to get there eventually. So technically, it would have had a refit somewhere in between. So nobody really complains about Strange New Worlds because it has done some good stuff, but it's nowhere near as big. Being stuck on Paramount only, I think, has hurt it. Now being on a major network and being on another streaming service, I think is the main thing that has hurt it. Star Trek Prodigy came out, and that's a CG, like kids-oriented show. I watched it last year. It was on my top 10 list. It's like 2 seasons. supposed to be coming back for a third, hopefully. It's actually pretty good, and it's a successor to Star Trek Voyager, because it basically stars a bunch of kids who came from a mining colony who find a lost Starfleet ship, and they're in the Delta Quadrant, and they end up the training hologram is Janeway. So it actually directly ties to Voyager. And then you build out the whole story of how everything happened, and then you find out the MacGuffin that everybody's after the ship for, which there's some timey-wimey stuff going on because, space isn't good enough anymore. Everything's got to be timey-wimey. It's well done, but it also ties in to Star Trek Discovery Season 2. I was like, oh, so the thing that happened here hundreds of years ago at this point has come back to kick our ass here. Okay, cool. And then in Star Trek Lower Decks, which takes place a little bit after DS9 and Voyager, and after those movies, the Next Generation movies ended, it takes place a couple years after that. So we just kind of see what's going on with the Federation. It's more like Rick and Morty or Family Guy, more comedy animated show, but it still has a lot of direct lore implications, and characters like Riker come up, and a lot of other people from that generation, no pun intended, are on the show. They are there. And apparently that's actually one of the more loved series, which is the one that brought all this up, but it has a lot of canon stuff. And once again, said MacGuffin comes up again in that show, which takes place before Prodigy. But you see how they're all, for some reason, across time and space, dealing with the same fucking problem that they thought went away 200 years ago. Like, fuck, it's still here. And then you get to Star Trek Picard, which, first 2 seasons are pretty shitty, according to a lot of people, because they're just like, oh, whatever, we're going to do all this other stuff. Same shit comes up there. But then they give a better reason for it. And then Picard season 3 apparently just went for all the member berries, so that's where all the fans were happy. And then that show ended. And they're supposed to have set up the next series, which is not coming anytime soon, apparently. So that'll be Star Trek Legacy.
So is Picard, is that like the most recent
That is. Do you need to?
Is my mother.
Okay, see what your mom needs. I'll pause.
One fuck up later.
I did unpause, but what I did do was hit stop recording. Good thing nothing important was said. So here's the thing. The pause button is there. The record button is there. So what I did was I hit unpause and then I hit record, which meant it was no longer recording. I'm glad you said that, because that is exactly what I did the last time, where I hit the record button instead of the pause button. I need to add a pause button there.
We've been talking about nonsense and everything, and nothing was going to be recorded
at least that was nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
It was just nonsense. Actually, probably more private information that didn't need to be out there anyways. So either way, or maybe a tail end of it. Who cares? So back to the Star Trek thing. So either way, what happened in Lower Decks was the final episode. They deal with like a multiversal enemy. Like, so they finally addressed the Star Trek multiverse. Like, there was always the mirror universe and then the Kelvin timeline. So there was like the established main timeline that's gone on forever, the Kelvin timeline, which was the J.J. Abrams movies, because it was the only major offshoot, and then the mirror universe, which went wonky a really, really, really long time ago, when the Terran Empire started. So the whole thing was this ending of Lower Decks brought out the multiverse. So like, you now have multiversal characters from your series, and they're interacting. And then they go against the enemy who is trying to basically shatter the multiverse and like whatever. So you've got, what happened was you get a Klingon ship that gets hit with a wave of this multiversal energy, and it changes the ship and the Klingons inside to look like they do in Discovery, which once again takes place at this point 200 years in the past. So they look very, very different. Like, they look a lot closer to the J.J. Abrams Klingons, because I think at that point they weren't quite sure what they were doing with Discovery. And then when the fan backlash happened by season 2, they shifted what the Klingons started looking like, sort of shifting more towards traditional Klingons. But like, what they made it look like the outfits and the skin color and the no hair and all that stuff of the Discovery things. And so the nerds went, ha, see, It didn't even happen in this timeline. That came from a different part of the universe. It was like, any excuse for these fucking people at this point to just say, oh, he's not my president. Basically the same fucking thing. Which, by the way, guys, as we're recording this, this is January 6th, 2025, but it's too snowy and icy for there to be another insurrection. So we'll see what happens on the 20th for the actual inauguration. It's like, I guarantee you, like, as of yesterday, before the blizzard hit that area of the country, like, there were like small protests in DC already spinning up to not certify Trump as president. Now, I wanted to dig off into politics, but it is January 6th, so I got to mention it. But it's basically the same shit they're doing with Star Trek. They're like, we hate this thing, therefore any excuse to make it not part of the thing we do love, right? So it's like, you can't just go, oh, by the way, this is time and space shit happening. It's like, oh no, that's a universe where things never changed and the Klingons still look that way. Or maybe it's just pulling shit from 200 years ago because time and space.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally in this fucking weird void universe of where all this shit is coming together. It's like any fucking thing could be going on here. You had a singular ship. This is the dumbest thing. In the same scene, they have our hero ship, which is the Cerritos, which is a very strange looking fucking ship. It's basically the saucer and then like two little legs and then the nacelles underneath it. Very strange, weird little ship called a California class. It keeps getting hit with these multiversal waves and changing to other classes of starship, but it's still supposed to be the Cerritos. They're like, we'll see the Klingons. And like, okay, but they took a California class and turned it into an Excelsior, or not an Excelsior, a Sovereign class. Those things aren't even close to the same size. Nobody cares about the fact that the ship completely and utterly changed.
You're not gonna make everybody happy, depending.
No, but it's just funny they took this one sliver of a fucking nonsensical fucking sight gag. Because that's the whole point. It's just a sight gag. They're like, hey, remember that thing you hated? We're gonna make a quick reference to it at the end of our very jokey, although entirely canonical series. It's like the whole thing should have been like, no, that actually solidifies Discovery into canon because this show is canon. But no, that the video I watched originally describing this, the guy in the same breath said that Lower Decks is not canonical because it takes place after 2005, but everything that happens in the show is considered canon, so therefore Discovery is not canon. I was like, holy fuck. It was like, that is the most circular logic I've ever heard in my life. It was like, using something you said is not canon to prove that something you hate isn't canon doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, it's like Jeff and Dune. Have you ever?
Oh God.
You're. Have you also been party to the Dune rants?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously we've done that over and over here on this show. How he has issues with the new Dune movies, even though they're good. So it is funny. It's that's actually closer to this Star Trek argument because you can't make the same argument with other series in the same way, you know. Because they can just pop things in and out of canon.
And people can't just appreciate for what it is at the time.
Yeah.
They all have to blend in together seamlessly.
Yeah. It's the problem with canon. Because canon is supposed to be an established story based on the most senior authority in charge of whoever owns the fucking thing. Okay. Well, the current people who are writing for Dune are these people. Therefore, this is the current canon. It doesn't change anything you liked before. You have the books. You have the original fucking weird-ass movie from the 70s. You have the 2002, 2003 sci-fi series. And then you've got this. All of those things are canon to themselves, and they're all taking from the exact same story and doing with it as they will. You know, not like the Lord of the Rings shit that's going on. Have you kept on with any of the current Lord of the Rings stuff?
Or the way they're doing
like Rings of Power and the War of the Rohirrim, the new anime movie.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, so I think I guess it's on Amazon too, I think. So they made a movie it's after Rings of Power, but before Lord of the Rings, or before The Hobbit, I think. And it is a Rohan-based story, and it's from the appendices. Excuse me. So the appendices are technically canon, right? And he did write them as part of the story. It just wasn't part of the main part of the book. That's why it's an appendix. But they took this little segment of the appendices where this stuff happened, because some of it is like little passages, like, hey, by the way, this thing happened. Here's the people who were there. It took this long, done. And it's like half a paragraph. And then they make an entire fucking movie from half a paragraph, right? Because you have this much room that you can play with from a thing that was this big, But the thing is that from what I've heard, I haven't watched it yet, from a very like big Lord of the Rings nerd, the War of the Rohirrim is basing the whole show around a character that didn't even have a name. So the daughter of a character who did have a name, but they're following that daughter, not the guy who was actually the main point of that story. It's like, okay, well, I mean, it might still be good for what it is, but Lord of the Rings nerds are probably still going to be pissy. But it is an anime movie in the Lord of the Rings universe. So do with that what you will. Oh, I guess things we're looking forward to, because Sean did ask about it. I mean, I am looking forward to the Superman movie when it eventually drops. We did talk about the trailer the other day, and people are still hating on.
Yeah, I asked my sister last night if she actually had watched the trailer. She's like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. And so we have to see. I was like, I'm actually excited about it. So why does it matter if a new take on the whole thing? And it's like going the comic book almost accuracy.
Yeah.
As much as possible, I think. I
mean, the thing is, the argument about doing anything that's comic book accurate with DC is, okay, but which part of the comic book run are you pulling from? Mm. Because most of the time they're going to pull from a specific storyline or a singular book sometimes. That's the thing with like the Batman and the Penguin show. They're pulling from very specific comic book runs. Like Batman Year 2 or whatever. There's where this Penguin story came from. There's like 2 or 3 stories specifically in the same universe. Because you might even pull it from the same fucking universe when it comes from the comic books. But with, what was I just saying? Oh, the Superman thing. I wanted to mention, because we talked about it briefly, that currently in this new DCU that's coming, there wasn't a Batman. In Creature Commandos, which is canon to this new universe, the giant spoiler, they show us a Batman. So there is an active Batman in that universe. So I don't know if there will be references to it or anything in the Superman movie. There's been nothing at all. They've shown everyone else who's in this movie. They've listed off virtually all the characters and actors. No Batman references that we know of yet. But in that universe, there is a Batman.
Well, there's supposed to be the Supergirl.
Yep.
And there also is going to be the Lobo in with her. So
you know who that Lobo is?
Yeah,
Jason Momoa, who always should have been playing Lobo from the get-go. Just paint that motherfucker gray and give him red eyes.
He is the exact character right there.
He is Lobo and always has been. Rides motorcycles. He's got the tattoos. He already says, my man, all the fucking time. When he was Ronin on Stargate Atlantis, he was already Lobo. Not so much Baywatch Nights. At least I think it was Baywatch Nights. The one in Hawaii. That's where he first came in. That was his first gig. Way back when. But, he was never Aquaman. Even when he took the job, he's like, how the fuck am I Aquaman? He was like, well, we're doing a new take on it. He's like, sure you are. So, yeah, when the Lobo thing came up first, this Supergirl situation, it was like, duh. Like, thank God James Gunn is finally making decisions. Although people are going to be like, but wait, he was...
Yes.
Different universe. We've already covered this. Go look at Marvel. It's like, it's fine.
They're not... I mean, Marvel's not going to be happy either because
Marvel's doing...
Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom.
Okay, so I already talked about this the other day with the Doom situation. There is a story that totally makes sense, and it's not just Superior Doom or Superior Iron Man. It's what I don't know if I mentioned this at New Year's or not. I had a different conversation around about the same time of how they can do Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom and still make it make sense. It's in a multiverse, obviously, but he's Iron Man who never made it out of the cave. Then the Mark I exploded and fused to his skin. That's why the mask looks like the Doom mask and like the Iron Man Mark I. But instead of beating the 10 rings, he conquers the 10 rings. That's how he gets magic and technology, and Tony Stark doesn't exist. If they do that, very specifically, it'll be a good fucking story. If they don't, then nobody's going to care.
But I'm not going to like it because he's not Iron Man this time.
He's not Iron Man, but he's going to be Doom. Now, the thing is, he's going to be a Doom. Always have more Dooms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more pissed off about Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic when we already got the Mr. Fantastic everybody fucking wanted.
John Krasinski?
Yes. He was so damn good for 8 minutes of a movie. It was fan casting, and it was perfect. And he already has an awesome wife who would have been a perfect Sue Richards as well, but no.
No, he was torn apart.
I mean, he was spaghettified.
Yes.
That's fucking horrifying. Okay, look, every Fantastic Four member that has popped up so far in a multiversal movie has died a horrific death. So at some point, we're gonna have to get like a thing that gets like all the rocks pulled off of him or something, and like Sue Storm. Wait, what was her? Invisible Girl, I guess. Visible Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of what her superhero name is, because most of them just go by their name, right? It's like, so Sue Storm. I mean, what's going to happen to her if she just phases through everything and can never?
Yeah,
like,
Johnny Storm. He died, and
he got ripped apart. He got flayed alive basically by Cassandra Nova. I want to see more in that Deadpool universe. That's like perfect. That was like exactly what everybody kind of wanted. It's like, yeah, keep playing with that. You know, we're good. And we already have the X-Men as canon to the universe, and people keep forgetting that we got that because it was in one of the worst movies, you know, in the Marvels. Because if you watch the end credits scene, that she's in the fucking X-Men universe. So it's like, okay, so we got that. And then we got X-Men and What If, technically speaking, which that wrapped up in a very weird way. I've just finished that
I haven't finished watching it. I need to.
Where did you leave off?
Well, I don't think I've actually started the new series yet.
Okay, so I won't spoil much, but like they have the escalation problem.
Well, actually, yes, I have started the new series.
Okay.
Where?
Because the beginning of it is very strange, and then the end of it wraps up at the same story.
Hollywood. I think the last one I had where Wanda's in Hollywood, and
Wanda's in Hollywood.
Wanda did Hollywood. Not Wanda. Agatha.
Oh,
Agatha.
the Agatha one is a great one. I actually really enjoyed that one where she gets with Kingo.
Yes.
Okay. The way they played Agatha with the Eternals, they finally did something with the Eternals that was interesting, because that movie was kind of shitty, in my opinion. Like, I think that's the worst Marvel movie that's been made.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah. I mean, like, everyone hates on Captain Marvel. I was like, Captain Marvel was not that bad a movie. It's like, people just hate Brie Larson because she ran her mouth before the movie came out. I was like, okay, I don't care what she said. I care if the character's good on screen. If she murdered someone, come back to me. You know? Like, she said stupid thing. Oh, no. It's like, I mean, Jonathan Majors basically has gone to jail for a minute because of some domestic violence situations. She just said something stupid. You know? It's like, that's very different. Oh, apparently they might actually be bringing Jonathan Majors back to keep doing Kang, because they're like, well, shit, we got to do something with this character down the line. And realistically, yeah, that wasn't a great situation, but he didn't fucking kill someone, and frankly, the evidence isn't great. Like, we've defended Jonathan Majors a bit on this show when all that shit was going down. So, like, I still feel a way about what happened with him, because that was some bullshit. That was more of a fight, not so much a domestic beating. You know, it's like they both walked away injured from that confrontation. They had a shitty... It's like, shitty people in a shitty relationship doesn't mean you lose your entire fucking livelihood, you know? And it's like, there's multiple sides to this fucking story, but the only one that was ever heard was, oh, he hit me. It's like, okay, but she also clawed the fuck out of his face.
Yeah, usually it takes takes more over than what happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been on different sides of domestic abuse, you know, for both personally and also in a courtroom setting. It's like I had to go to court for someone due to domestic violence situation. So, like, I feel a way about it. But when it comes to this shit, like recasting and all this other stuff, when it comes to Marvel, like, sure. But I say the same thing with DC. Find the best person to play the fucking character. I don't care. And story over everything. Like, I'm sorry that what's his face died, and Black Panther couldn't continue the way they wanted.
But they could have recast.
They could have fucking recast, and they're like, no, they couldn't. I'm like,
It's just a character he's playing. Yes, I understand the loyalist and everything of it, but he is a character that he's playing.
and Chadwick Boseman, fucking really solid fucking actor.
Yes.
And apparently a really cool dude. Don't get me wrong. And he suffered in silence for 3 fucking years before he died. Nobody even knew.
He
all sucks.
He played while having
Yeah, he did movies, major fucking movies, while having fucking colon cancer.
Yeah. And like one of the interviews he was talking about, it's like, what's going on with Black Panther? So he dies.
Yeah.
And like, oh no, you can't say that. And literally, he actually
Then he fucking dies.
He died
before they got to do anything with it.
Yes.
And I think that, like, okay, fine. But I don't think that Wakanda Forever was the movie that everybody made it out to be. I think it was a fucking mess because they didn't know what to do. They did the best what they could with their mess, but they absolutely should have just recast him. I mean, whoop-de-doo.
I think it was rushed a little bit. I know for the fact that she was supposed to kind of take over, but not like that quick.
No, nothing like that. No, he was supposed to carry on. You know, actually, the last bit of Black Panther we got from him was in What If Season 2, which was great. What if he was Star-Lord? I was like, that was cool. He changed the entire fucking universe by not being Peter Quill. Thought that was great. He befriended Thanos. I was like, okay, Thanos didn't become a bad guy because T'Challa was out in the universe. I was like, okay, maybe that actually was where we should have had him. But either way, it's like with the Jonathan Majors situation, okay, recast his ass if necessary. Keep the story going. Don't do a hard fucking shift to doing the Fantastic Four and Galactus because your Kang problems. Okay, recast him. He's only been in fucking 2 movies, if that, in 1 series. It sucks. Move on. You know? And guess what? He's already a person who exists across the multiverse. He can look different.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to mention, he wasn't even black in the comics. You can make him another fucking race if you had to on short notice. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying you could.
It is the multiverse.
It's the multiverse. It fucking happens. That's how we got fucking Chris Evans being Captain America and fucking Johnny Storm in the same fucking area. It's like, oh no, it happens. Or the weird part that not too many people address, what's his face in Iron Man 1? Why can't I think of his name? Is it Bridges? No. What's his name? Who played the dude in, you know what I'm talking about? The Big Lebowski? Why is his name escaping?
Yeah,
It's Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges.
So Jeff Bridges was in Iron Man 1 as Obadiah Stane, but Iron Man references Lebowski in Endgame, meaning that Jeff Bridges exists in the Marvel universe, but nobody talks about how he looks exactly like Obadiah Stane, you know? Or the fact that in the Deadpool universe, Wolverine and Hugh Jackman exist. And Ryan Reynolds exists in the same universe as Deadpool. It's like, nobody talks about that.
And Calvary.
The Calvary, which, that was awesome. You know, that's the multiverse we all want. I mean, Henry Cavill is doing everything. Yeah, the arm reload.
Dude,
yeah.
I can't wait. The Highlander, the Warhammer, all the shit he's going to be doing.
Too fucking much.
Yeah, I know, but at least he's doing something he actually loves.
As long as nobody fucks it up like they did with The Witcher.
Witcher. I've got through that point, and then I stopped because I was like, he's not going to be there. I can't.
Did you watch Witcher Season 3?
No.
Good. Be happy.
Okay.
Season 3 was abysmal.
Terrible.
You can tell they cut his role back, and because he clearly was angry about the whole situation. And after watching it, it's like, I see why. Because, okay, first season, great. Once you finally got past the timey-wimey, like, Memento style fucking storytelling. Season 2, slight degrade, but still moved in the direction it needed to move. Season 3 said, we got no budget. Nobody gives a shit about this show. Who wants a story?
See, I think I got, I don't know, maybe
and went out
couple episodes in season 3. That was pretty much it.
It looked, I equated it to like the Hercules and Xena era of TV because the CG was terrible. The acting was terrible. You could tell they must have done it during COVID because this, like, most of the time it was like 3 to 4 people on screen max, you know, and they kept doing close-up shots of him reacting to stuff, which led me to believe that he wasn't on set for most of it. Excuse me. Even like the final fight where he's like fighting one of the wizards, the choreography was terrible. And then they kept doing close-up reactions of Henry Cavill. I was just like, this is fucking weird and done terribly. Like, you can tell it was just not done by the same creative team. It was garbage, and the story sucked. Like, I just got through it to get through it, but it was horrible. I'm not going to pick it up for the next season. I don't care. Like, I do not care at all. Knowing that Henry Cavill bailed out because they diverted so hard from the source material. because you keep getting these people who are like, I don't care about the source material. I just want to tell a story with this character. I was like, yeah, so basically fan fiction. They're like, we're going to follow the source material this long, and then we're rolling hardcore into my fan fiction. It's like, no.
People aren't going to like that at all, especially if they're fans of The Witcher.
Yeah, it's like newbies aren't watching this show. It's like fans of The Witcher are watching this show. Same thing with the Marvel stuff. You can get newbies who won't care, like Jessica. Jessica knows fuck all about comics. But everything has taken so long now, and she still hasn't forgiven me about Deadpool and Wolverine. She won't watch it because I went and saw it with Jeff instead of her. But there was no instead. I was going to go watch it with her anyways, but we had to go watch it to do the fucking podcast. And she wasn't available on a Thursday afternoon. I was going to go watch it with her on Saturday.
Shame.
So she's, even though it's out now, she won't watch it.
She won't watch it at all?
No, out of spite.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dang it, Jessica.
Spiteful woman. But, fuck, I forgot where we even were.
She's going to walk in and hit me with a hit.
Nah, she won't be off work for several hours. No, okay, so going back to TV shows, because I watched a couple things. So I did finished up Creature Commandos, ended on a strong note, but sad it's over for now. You know, they did get renewed, so that got renewed for a second season. I mean, I don't know.
You need to write me a list of things I need to catch up on.
All the new DC shit.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you
That's
go.
just cool. That's
But
a lot.
it's really not, actually. Like, because, like, you already seen the Batman, so you're good there. Penguin, you get through that in a week.
Okay.
You know, at a good pace. I know you and Jeff want to do the Sandman watch along review situation. Dude, I like that series. Like, it's different. It's different enough to get you go, oh, this is a comic book show. Like, but it's not, because like the main thing is like, because they weren't really allowed to play in the DC stuff, they focus on I forgot what I had it until I needed to say it. The other comic book system, not Valiant, but so because Sandman exists both in the main DC universe and the other comic universe. This is more the straight up Neil Gaiman side of it than
Like an Image?
No, it's not Image. It's one of the other more independent ones. That's why my brain, not Dark Horse, not Valiant. It'll come to me eventually. Either way, the point is like, because he is the same character, he's mostly referred to as Dream in DC, and then on his side he's more Sandman and goes by his other more Morpheus and stuff like that. Like, he's got like a buttload of names. He's like Gandalf. But because like the main inciting incident for the story of season 1 involves the Justice League, but they didn't have the Justice League because they weren't allowed to, they had to make a new way for things to happen without the Justice League. And it's done really well. My biggest complaint is that they couldn't use Constantine proper, so they went with a different version of Constantine. But I'm not mad at the decision just because of who the actress is that plays Constantine. So they go with Joanna Constantine instead of John.
Okay.
But I'm just not mad at it because of who is playing Joanna Constantine. So I'm not mad at that. It's such a minor character in the way they've used her for the series. There's more to be done in the past because, you know, Constantine's involved in all of that kind of dark magic shit. So someone somewhere. Although I will say Matt Ryan, the guy who played Constantine in the Constantine series and in the Flareoverse, he's perfect, and they just need to use him significantly more. James Gunn needs to bring him back. Like, just keep him as Constantine forever.
Well, you know they're doing a new Constantine movie.
Yeah, but that's Keanu Reeves, and I don't want that. Like, I loved that when I was a kid and didn't know any better. Now that I know what Constantine really is, I want that. I was like, I want that. I don't want the... I'm tired of Keanu coming back to do legacy sequels. Because holy fuck, The Matrix Resurrections was so bad. Did you ever see that?
They're supposed to be making another one.
No.
Did that get canceled?
They canceled it immediately.
Okay.
Because the fan backlash of that was so fucking bad. They went, nope, never mind. We're not going to continue this. It's like, good.
It needs to stop.
Yeah. Because all it was, that was just well, no longer a stroke show. It was more of a click the button show for the Wachowski sister that remained. It was so bad the other Wachowski didn't want to be involved. That's how bad that is. Also, how the hell, not to keep going on and on about trans people, it's like, how do you get two brothers that both decide they want to be sisters instead? That's weird. They both decided to be trans at the same time. That's odd in my book. But, you know, it is what it is. Live your life.
Transformers.
No, Transformers is going a different direction entirely. Actually, God knows where Transformers is going because Transformers 2 is not happening now because they fanned backlash of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was horrible.
It wasn't horrible, except for B. Except for Badassatron.
Badassatron.
Fuck him. I hated it so much. They
Why'd you hate it so much? Because he actually was able to speak?
No, because it was just too much.
Because he talked?
He overcompensated so fucking much.
That's probably one of the reasons why he didn't have a voice in all the other movies.
Okay, they went way too far with him not having a voice because he got his voice back at the end of fucking movie 1, and then they kept not having his voice back. It's fucking stupid. And then in the Bumblebee movie, he found a reason for him to not have a voice. I was like, there's no reason he couldn't fucking talk except for the fact you needed him to be the dog. You needed him to be the funny family dog for half a movie until he became a badass again. The Bumblebee movie is pretty solid.
It is.
And I'm sad they couldn't bring back Haley Steinfeld because I like her. Although Rise of the Beast was a really, really fucking shitty movie. They said, we're not going to do the Bayverse thing, and then immediately did the Bayverse thing. Why are people messaging me here again? Okay. So even though I'm on airplane mode, I'm still on the Wi-Fi, so I still get all the Facebook notifications and bullshit. But they're not coming across. It's just they start piling up. It's annoying. But it is what it is. So, what was I was having what was the other fucking... I watched something else. What was it? I meant to write it down and I forgot. I know I watched... Oh. It was a thing I found... Because I watch random documentaries sometimes. It was about giants. Like... It was a documentary that wasn't really a documentary. It was like a documentary that was like reading Wikipedia. Because like they didn't talk to any experts. They just went over every case of someone digging up a giant skeleton across the earth over the last like 250 years.
Like how big is the giant?
Like some of them are like 20 feet. Like human skeletons that are like anywhere from 9 to 20 feet tall. And a lot of the larger ones having 2 rows of teeth, which apparently was fairly well common and apparently a genetic trait, according to this thing. It's not an accident. So basically, like, if you go back to biblical days, you know, they talk about the Nephilim, the children of angels that have mated with humans. So they said they were like basically a race of giants. Now, if this is true, which... They didn't show any... They showed some real pictures, and then they had a lot of artwork, but apparently most of the documentation around these things, other than the fact that they happened, has all disappeared. Most of the skeletons that they know exist seem to be owned exclusively by the Smithsonian, and they will not release them to the public, supposedly. And apparently it's not like a small thing, because there was, I think it might have been the Catalina Island thing in California. They found supposedly like 1,500 skeletons just there of these giant race of people, and they were all blonde. And I don't know how they
figure that they're blonde
because there was enough hair remaining. Because not every skeleton that's in the ground is like fossilized. Some of them are still somewhat intact, you know. But and some of them were like, because apparently these skeletons are all over the fucking world. They're not just in one location. Like everywhere. We started in like Egypt and we worked through like fucking Norway and then got into North America because that was a big deal. Because there's like footprints and a lot of them have 6 fingers and 6 toes, like huge fucking footprints. And some of these races, not only were they a footprint, they were a shoe print. Like they're wearing sandals, but these things are like hundreds of thousands of years old.
I've seen some things like that where it's on in the rocks. The pathway that goes up.
Yes. 100%. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at like fossilized, like this area was mud at one point, but now it's fucking solid stone. And these footprints are embedded in it.
They're huge.
And they're massive. And it's like, but the weird part was that they had 6 toes. But I guess if your foot is large enough, you would probably need another toe, realistically, because you're going to need it for the extra balance and grip. So, but the idea that like these races, especially around the Midwest, was actually really strange. They were like, there's like an island somewhere in, I think it was in Minnesota. And this island is mostly full of like Native Americans, but they have evidence that they weren't the first people there, that the first people there were giants. And they copied and downsized their like teepees or huts based off of the giant structures, because they have drawings of what the other structures look like and had significant. They showed the giants in these structures and they showed themselves shorter next to it. Like basically they inherited the land from the fucking giants. That's why in their folklore, giants did exist. You know, and they weren't necessarily gods, but they looked like humans, but were huge and lived. And like, I think they went back to even more biblical times. King Gilgamesh, like Gilgamesh and the Lion, was like a huge fucking story from that era, because all the depictions show him with a full-size lion, except the full-size lion looks like a fucking large cat that he's holding and killing. Like, so he's gigantic, like in comparison. So he's got to be upwards of like 20 feet tall if this is a full-size African lion attacking him, you know? So they go all the way back to even then, you know, like thousands of modern, quote unquote, human history. And there's evidence of this shit. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, the weather changes. Okay, definitely unpaused it this time. I didn't stop the recording this time. Is what it is. But yeah, and I watched that show yesterday because I was like, when I realized they're not like, it's not like ancient Apocalypse where they like go to places and stuff. They literally just like, it felt like somebody was reading a document to you and showing you like clips of stuff. And I'm like, damn, this made it on like a real streaming service. Somebody paid money to put this shit here. And I was like, it's kind of cheaply done. Interesting idea if it is real. But they couldn't provide any real fucking evidence of anything. So it was crazy. They didn't show you any proper evidence. They're just like, basically like, everyone's hiding this shit. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, if you really want to go there, go. Okay. So a couple things are like, go to this place and you can go see where the Indians were and visit and stuff. And you can see the documentation that they've got. But basically said, giant conspiracy, no pun intended, giant conspiracy to bury the fact that there were giant humans on this planet at one point. Which I guess they're constantly trying to fight ancient apocalypse stuff. Anyways, if you watch that series at all, how modern science and anthropology and archaeology just buries the further old history of the world. Nope. Also, no pun intended. They just don't want to acknowledge that humans existed way earlier and the civilizations probably existed significantly earlier than we give credit for. And that Atlantis was more than likely real. You know? So, it's a fun rabbit.
I would have to agree that Atlantis was probably real.
I mean, it couldn't. There's no way it couldn't be. There's too many
stories.
Too many stories. Too many legends. Like the flood. It's like, oh no, the world flooded. There's historical reason to believe the world flooded, not to mention mythological reason to believe the world flooded. Oh, and then for some reason, Atlantis sunk. Huh. I wonder if that had anything to do with those things. And then after the world floods, these 7 wise men keep showing up on different continents, bringing knowledge that nobody else has, and bringing seeds of an old world. It's like, that's weird how that keeps happening across the world. Like, strange. It's almost like a lost civilization was trying to reinvigorate itself elsewhere. In the fact what happened, we know that basically we Europeans accidentally wiped out the South American colonies. Whoops.
Accidentally?
Well, they didn't mean to. They came through the rivers. They discovered, like, hey, we can go through these river pathways to get from one ocean to the other. And, oh, no, look, massive civilizations that we run into. And then when we go back 10 years later, they're completely gone. Because, oh, yeah, they don't have our diseases. It's like, whoops. I mean, they were literally the typhoid Mary of their. They wiped out entire civilizations by accident, just by going, "Oh, hey, new humans." Whoops! They didn't actively kill them; they passively killed them, which might be worse. I don't know. No intention other than, "Oh, hey," because they wrote down the fact that they said, "Oh yeah, we ran into these massive cities of hundreds of thousands of people." Like all along the riverbanks as we traveled through this fucking country didn't know existed. And then we went back 10 years later, everyone was gone and we couldn't find the cities. It's like, did we trip? Like, what did we have? That we like, yeah, lost civilizations in the Amazon. Yeah, no shit. We need to fucking take care of that shit. Go find it. Go discover it. But no, we don't want to. Can't prove it actually existed. Heaven for fucking bid. It's like, no. I don't want to get into the Afrocentrist argument. But it's out there. And archaeology doesn't want you to know.
There's a lot of stuff that no one wants us to know.
Yeah. Like what the drones are. Have you heard this shit? What happened on fucking New Year's? The two different terrorist attacks and how they're sort of connected?
No.
Okay.
The one in the
So the one that happened in
New Orleans?
New Orleans, they're connected without technically being connected. You know, if the internet is to be believed. That both guys are ex-military. Both guys were stationed at the same base, and they both happened to rent their electric vehicles from the same company. That's a weird set of coincidences. Although the one dude was clearly, the more that keeps coming out about him as they're discovering his house in Houston and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The guy who attacked New Orleans drove his truck into a crowd of people at a very high rate of speed, and I bet he chose electric because it wouldn't be heard coming. Because you did it with like a normal vehicle, you'd have heard it coming down the street. Also, they discovered he planted bombs. I don't know if you saw that on the news. So they discovered he had planted bombs around other very, very busy streets. He had a detonator with him, but he never got a chance to use it. Or it failed to function. Because I think they found bombs in his truck as well. Weird improvised explosives found on one terrorist on New Year's. And then the Cybertruck that exploded in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas on the same day. Also ex-military guy. Also a truck full of fucking explosives. All, you know, homemade nonsense. Fireworks, explosives, propane, gas. But, weirdly enough, that dude was found with a bullet hole in his head after they put out the fire. Strange. But, I don't know if you heard that he sent emails to a whole bunch of different, like, podcasters and news places, and apparently most of them didn't fucking follow up. And so this guy comes on Sean Ryan like 2 days later, if you're familiar with the Sean Ryan podcast, because he has a lot of ex-military and like operators and stuff like that who vaguely talk about some of the crazy shit they did. And he said, I got this email from this guy and I just found out he blew himself up in front of Trump Tower. I didn't take it seriously, and then I read through his email, and they went through the email and everything. And then Sean looks at his social medias and discovers the same dude sent him the same information. Like, he just never bothered to look at it. And so he lists off the whole idea that he's basically being hunted by the U.S. government because he's a whistleblower, because he was going to blow the whistle on what the drones actually are and how they're actually a covert Chinese and U.S. situation. And the reason why nobody can really follow what a lot of these drones and UFOs are is because they have a brand new propulsion system. It's anti-grav. It's not propulsion like we normally use. They're not propeller driven. They're basically using an anti-grav device to fly around and do shit. And so the whole point is he was going to blow the whistle on what's been going on, along with some other shit he found out. I don't remember all of it, but he went off on this really long rampage, and he said, look, they discovered that I was going to blow the whistle. I'm currently on the run. And then he talked about this other stuff. And then the next day, he ends up dead on fire in front of the Trump Tower. Weird. It's like, that's odd. The whole fucking situation is odd. I mean, nobody got hurt, fortunately. Well, I think some people, like, the explosion did rattle some people. Like, nobody was, like, severely injured. Didn't really damage the tower. But holy fuck, like, we're only 6 days into the new year.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've got some insane nonsense going on, not to mention the weather, which I'm sure has nothing to do with any of these conspiracy theories. Well, look, we can already control the weather. We know we can. We developed a patent for that shit in the fucking 60s, if not earlier. But if we actually have gravimetric drives or whatever they fucking called it, it's something like that. Like, basically, it just flies around with anti-grav, which is fucking cool. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that, like, people went, hey, what's that weird thing? And they went, shut up, don't look at that. And they're like, but I want to look at it. And then this guy goes, hey, this is what this thing is. And then he's dead. It's like, that's very, very weird. So either he's a nutcase, or he uncovered a fucking giant conspiracy and sent it to a fuckload of people to make sure it got heard.
No, we'll see what happens.
I'm sure he sent it to Joe Rogan. It's just that nobody saw it yet. It's like, but that was crazy. It was just like, that's fucking weird. But now I just want the government to go, yes. You know, it's like, so I kind of hope that when Trump gets in the office, he just starts fucking declassifying all kinds of nonsense. Like he said, he's going to give us the truth about JFK. He's just waiting for other people to die. Like basically, it's like people who won't be. It was like were involved. Like he saw it. He just didn't want to talk about it because too many people are still alive that were involved. He's like, okay, I'm going to wait for these people to get old enough and pass, and then I'll tell you the truth.
It's waiting for everybody to age out.
Literally, basically. It's like, dude, statute of limitations at this point. It's like, we actually want to know if there's anyone still around that is involved. Because, holy shit, we should prosecute anybody who purposely went and killed the American president. You know, we already know the CIA did it, but, you know, we kind of want to know who and why and when. The exact reasons, you know. I already said 2025 is going to be a shit show. Hopefully 2026 flips, you know, things level out. Because, I mean, damn, man. I got this whole fight over the H-1B visas going on Twitter. Like, everybody losing their minds because, like, the two people who were supposed to be like, oh, yeah, no, we don't want all these illegals here. Like, but H-1B visas are good things. Like, if they're executed properly, we get the best, brightest people from all over the planet, and we keep them here legally. Yes, we kind of want that. Like, that's the whole point. It's like, yes, and then we get them on the path to citizenship legally, properly, and we get all the good shit that they would give to other people if we didn't get involved. It's like, yes, America wants all the good shit. Duh. It's like, why are you mad about this? It's like, we're more mad about the fact that the fucking Democrats voted to not deport fucking rapists and drug lords that are here illegally. That was fun.
More concerning.
That just happened yesterday. I was like, oh, hey, that's weird. They shot down the bill that would punish illegal rapists and everything else like that. It's like, oh, it's like, great, good, wonderful. Just, God damn it. I don't like doing only politics all the time, so I like talk nerd shit and then get into some of the politics. Like, let's talk about the fantasy stuff and then talk about the real stuff, realistically. You know?
You watch more news and listen to more stuff than I do in politics. Sometimes I just try to get away from it as much as possible.
I wish I could, but like I watch a lot of shows that actually manage to integrate both. Like they do talk about nerd shit, but they also talk about the news. It's like, unfortunately, most of the news is politics, so it's hard not to do it. It's like, otherwise the news is just, oh, another person died over here in a shooting, or, oh no, this other disaster, because they never tell you anything fucking positive anymore.
It's all tragedy and everything else like that. That's all the news is doing nowadays.
Yeah, it's like, I want that. I don't want to be lied to, but I want something to fucking look forward to. You know? It's like, don't give me false bullshit stories. Like, okay, cool. Local hero. Like I saw the other day this video of, and I think it's an old video, but of this pizza delivery guy who saved like a family of 6 from a burning house. When he found out there was still one kid missing, he ran back in. So he saved everyone before the fucking firefighters and cops got there. Because he was delivering pizza, maybe not to them, but right there, saw what the fuck was going on, just jumped into action immediately. And be like, whatever pizza company he works for needs to give him like $1 million fucking dollars. Like the dude is a fucking hero.
He's a hero.
Fucking hero. You get the body cam footage from the cop, like, because they're like telling the firefighters, like, they're like, hey, there's a 26-year-old man and a 6-year-old girl in there. He ran back in to go get her, and the firefighters are like trying to run in and do the thing, and then the cops are going around the property, and you see him running out carrying the girl, and like he fucked up his arm on that last go, or I guess he probably broke a window to get in. So this dude is not only going into a fucking raging house fire uncovered, he's fucking sliced his arm open because they tourniquet his shit. They had, like, the video has it blurred out, and then you see after the fact they tourniqueted it. And he just sits down on the curb and he's like, did I get them all? You know, he's just more worried about, did I save everyone? Doesn't care that he's probably going to pass the fuck out and die from blood loss and smoke inhalation. And like, dude, you got to get away. He just sits on the curb. He's literally 20 feet from the fucking fire. He's like, dude, he was in the fire 5 seconds ago. I don't think he cares if he sits right here. It's definitely cooler here than it was seconds ago. It's like that's the kind of shit we do need to hear about. You know, we need to hear about people who do that shit. Don't just tell me where I can save money today on whatever bullshit sales going on, and then fucking horrible tragedy and shooting after tragedy and shooting and fucking terrorist attack. It's like, we do need to know those things happen, but don't give us only that. Fucking balance something at some point. Give us something to fucking look forward to. Because even this morning, just watching the news with Jessica, it's like half of it was, oh, here we are in the 4-year anniversary of the attack on the Capitol. It's like, and then one news station actually going so far as Trump instigated. It's like, oh God, here we go again. It's like, here we are again. It's like, fucking A. It's like, oh, it's going to be a fun year.
They're never gonna let anything go with him.
No, because you heard that the fucking judge he's still doing the sentencing on the 10th. He has to go to fucking New York to be sentenced for his crimes that they filed appeal on. It's like, you're going to sentence the president-elect 10 days before his inauguration? I was like, are you shitting me? I was like, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the attorney general, the new attorney general, to come after your ass. I was like, come on, man. It's like, all that shit is fucking ridiculous. Certain crimes, I know Trump is not a clean dude. I've said it here. I'm sure he has done lots and lots of sketchy shit as a businessman in New York. Mm-hmm. So have all of them. You only care because he's Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, in the fucking courtroom, they said, if this man's name wasn't Donald Trump, none of you would care. This wouldn't have even been brought to this fucking court. That's why it's fucking absurd. I mean, all the shit in Georgia is basically going away because they had to get rid of the fucking prosecutor for all the shit she's done. And then the documents case, that's just going to fucking go away. You know, that's just fucking stupid. They're going to just put those documents in the Trump Museum that he's got from his lawsuit from ABC. So that's why it's even going to be funnier. You know? It's like, God damn, it's so stupid. And then Judge Merchan's just like, they're going to have to pay him they have to be fucking funneling money at his ass to keep him pushing this shit forward. Even after the case is like, all this shit's gone to crazy. The fucking country has said, hey, no, we want Donald Trump to be our president. We don't think he did anything wrong. He's like, nope, don't care. Don't care that this case should have never been fucking brought. Don't care. We're going to just keep pushing it forward. Don't care if he technically had presidential immunity at the time when these other crimes sort of, mind you, I'm kind of conflating the two different New York cases, but still, you know, I mean, I would hope that I would never be sent to a court where what I did was never described and I was never technically accused of the crime, but I was found guilty of it anyways. I hope I never have to come up to that because I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a fucking ex-president. I'm just some fucking dude on the internet. You know? It's like, if I ever have to go to court for something real, I better hope to know what the fuck it is I'm coming to court for. You know? It's like, you know, even our fucking case that we had last year for the personal injury thing, we never took it to court because they basically said it'd be a waste of time to do so. Now I wish we had, because we might have actually got some fucking money out of that shit. We got fucked on that deal. You know? It's like, Jessica has probably permanent injuries. We're fucking in debt $26,000 instead of fucking getting all that shit covered. Hey, here's $7,000 to deal with your problems. Like, that doesn't even cover that doesn't even cover the medical bills. Mm-mm. All to just fucking. Yeah, I'm never doing. I'm taking that shit's going to court no matter what. It's like,
next do it.
It's like, next time, it's like, I don't care how long it takes. We're gonna take these motherfuckers to court because odds are they will want to go. Okay, we actually don't want to. It's like, I'm pretty sure our lawyer literally did nothing.
Why can't you take it back?
I think because technically it's settled now. We've been paid. Hell, some of that money's been spent. It's like, I think if we've ever brought the lawsuit again, it would have to be in a different way. I think because we went after the company, not the guy, because he was in a work truck. If we had taken it on personal injury directly, insurance to insurance, not company, it would have been settled, fucking big check in hand, everything. But because it was in a work truck and we went after the company, I think that's the problem. That's what happened there. So, I don't know. It was a fucking mess. So we just got buried on that one. Thought about suing the lawyer. I mean, like, hey, I'm going to sue you for discovery on what you actually did. It's like, I want proof of everything you did because we got no fucking updates on anything. We just got told, well, I talked to the other lawyer and he said this stuff. So what do we want to do? It's like, okay, but what proof did you ever go find for our case? It's like, did you get the accident report that the cops said we were not at fault? Did you did you ever go to the county to get the cameras from the freeway to see what happened? No?
Did you ever get a full report on anything?
We got a full report from something, but it's just like, we never got details about what he actually did other than, oh, well, I talked to this guy and this other stuff. And Jessica only ever talked to his assistant or his law clerk. Never, only talked to him like once ever, like the actual lawyer. And I'm just like, I was like, at no point, like, I mean, I know TV and movies play up a lot of shit, but like, I know lawyers. They do work. But this guy, I don't know what he fucking did for us. But we paid him a lot of fucking money to lose a lot of fucking money. And he's like basically like the winningest fucking attorney when it comes to these kind of cases. Like, we didn't win fuck all. Why were we forced to settle? They should have fucking settled. Mm-hmm. And we should have come out of there with a fuckload of money in our hand, because he didn't even tell us that the insurance company was going to hold a lien against us. He didn't even warn us that we were going to lose half our money right off the bat. I was like, that would have been nice to know, to bring that shit up from last year. Yeah, that's fucking annoying. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, even though I got you less than I said I was going to get you, I'm going to take my fee, and the insurance company's going to take their chunk too. Oh. Thanks. Appreciate you. Come get your check for almost no money. It's like, shit. Whatever. Oh, you know what? I want this year to be better than it was last year, but I'm not going to put that juju out there. Not really. It's like, because things are not so great health-wise around the family. So, you know, we always got to kind of be prepared for that kind of stuff. I mean, you have elderly parents, you know how it goes. But it's like, with everything that happened with Sean last year, both his family and his girlfriend's family, and I just look at it as like it mirrors so much of what's going on with my family. So I worry about that. I want to prepare for the worst, but, you know, hope for the best, right? That kind of situation. I think that's all we can really do at this point. We're January fucking 6th of 2025. Okay, make sure my calendar was right. I wasn't sure. It looked like I almost said the wrong day. And it's just like so many fucking variables between here and there. And I just want to be able to buy groceries next week. You know, I want to be able to plan a fucking vacation. You're talking about, you know, doing a destination vacation with or a destination Christmas anyways. And it's just like, okay, but will we be able to afford gas next month?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I was thinking about that now. I was driving down here and noticed the gas prices have gone back up.
Oh, you know why? I don't know. Huh?
Trump?
No, Biden. Do you know what he's doing right now? He's trying to permanently ban any offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. All of it. He literally wants to hinder us to permanently not be able to drill fucking oil anywhere. I'm like, how the fuck can he make anything permanent? That is some horse shit. And he's going to do it on executive fucking order with less than 10 days, or I'm sorry, 14 days in office? Like, are you shitting me? I was like, no. It's like, if he does, he needs to be brought up on crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
It's like immediately after, he's going to pardon himself on the way out. So it is what it is. So either way, guys, that's it for this week episode. I know first one back of the year, we were missing a Jefe, but you know, it's okay. He needed the day off. He needs to deal with whatever he's got going on.
You guys stuck with me. My apologies.
We got Chad here for the first time. And what kind of sucks about it is because Jeff wasn't here, we couldn't induct you into the offenders. So you have to wait till next time. So you've heard about the offenders.
I've heard about
already.
it. I was wondering what I was going to be.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, you get to pick your power.
Oh,
so
great.
That's no matter what. So for next time you come back, you know, because you've sort of expressed the idea of wanting to be a regular.
Sure.
So, and we need more regulars, so that's fine. We ain't gonna turn down somebody else who wants to come and bullshit with us by any means. But if it does become a more permanent situation, or at least semi-permanent situation, I will have to reorganize the desk so that we can always all be in here. We'll figure it out. I actually kind of want to get a different desk entirely, like more of a standing round table.
I would say a round table would be good.
Yeah, this room's not very big, so it's got to be planned out right. I thought about doing a kidney shape and have like the mics all coming from one side and we all do the other side. So we have the cameras and mics and everything sort of all in the same place.
Okay.
But I still need to be able to live stream from it at the same rate. So that's on me to figure out.
Brainstorming.
Yes. But if for the next time you come back, whenever that might be, figure out what you want your superpower to be. Since we don't, you know, you've already heard what we have. So it's the gamut is still pretty wide open to do whatever it is you want to do.
Okay.
So think about that for the future, and then Jeff and I will figure out how to punish you for your cool idea. So, yeah. Let's see, what time is it? Okay. So I got plenty of time before I got to leave, so no big deal. So, guys, make sure you do the like and subscribe thing. I forgot to say it early on, but you know what to do. We broke 100. We need to keep it going. It's a new fucking year. We need to grow a lot. And, of course, subscribe here, subscribe on the Rumble, and, of course, come check out the Patreon where you can get the full uncut video version of the podcast where I will have edited out all of the interruptions and or my mistakes on hitting the right button to make sure the podcast is recording again. But hey, I mean, you're doing pretty good. I think we've done well over 2 hours, so you're doing good for your.
You did most of the
for your first
talking.
time.
I was trying.
Well,
to
there was
just
no prep.
direction.
There was no prep, and without Jefe, there was also making it a little more difficult.
Yes,
so.
it was.
So there'll be more to talk about. So, and then, like I said, if it's going to be more of a semi-permanent thing, guys, say hi to Chad, and obviously in the future, we'll probably also be hanging out at the Chidey house in the future again, because I only have a little podcast space there too, which by the way, I had to find somewhere to fucking hide that massive fucking case now. As you notice, it wasn't anywhere. I had to find the one place in the entire house that I could tuck it away and hope it's okay for storage. So that's fun. Do you remember how we sign off?
No.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I just couldn't. I know we were drinking a lot that night, but either way. So I say, and with that, bye. So wind it back. So guys, we'll catch you next time. And with that, bye. And then I remember where the button is pushed. He goes to sleep, and I'm like, oh god.